Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakarishu Sarvada Shri Ganeshaya Namaha Om Ganganapate 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 Namo Namaha Sarva Mangala Mangale Shive Sarvartha Sadike Sharannitrambike Gauri Narayani Namostute Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Mahalakshmi Rupena Samstita Namastasya 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 Namo Namaha Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha Om Gunatito Aksharam Brahma Bhagavan Purushottamah Jano Janandidam Satyam Uchyate Bhavavandanat Om Shri Swami Narayanaya Namaha Om Shri Lakshmi Narayanaya Namaha Om Shri Nar Narayanaya Namaha Om Shri Krishna Narayanaya Namaha Om Shri Vasudev Narayanaya Namaha Om Shri Badri Narayanaya Namaha Om Shri Shiva Narayanaya Namaha Om Namo Narayanaya Om Namo Narayanaya Om Namo Narayanaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya Om Namah Shivaya Shri Hanumate Namaha. Welcome to Nitya Satsang. Today is the 2nd of December 2022. I first want to offer my prayers to all the great sages, all the great devotees, and to the Supreme Lord, to the Supreme Paramatma, for blessings for our satsang today. To continue from yesterday, we have been talking about mantra sadhana as a sabij sadhana, which is part of dhyana yoga. So if you see the link there, just to keep in our mind, when Shankaracharya ji is talking about the instructions of the Gurus and then the excavation, the discovery of the Atma, there are multiple diverse ways as we have been trying to illustrate. So along those lines, we are specifically talking about mantra sadhana, and mantra sadhana is a huge area of research. It is a huge area of sadhana, experimentation and practice. There are thousands of mantras. I don't even think there's a whole complete list. There are so many from so many different ways. Just to be clear about some of the terminology as we are moving ahead, because we are going to talk about mantras for a while. Just to clarify it a bit further, might as well go into it a little bit more, and then we'll be able to connect all the other yogas like Ashtanga Yoga and Sankhya Yoga and other yogas, other paths also that are connected into the Atma. So just to be clear about the terminology, basic terminology, the word mantra is there. Mantra, yantra, tantra. These three words are there. Then there's the word stotra and the word shastra. What do all these mean? You see, so let's just be very clear. Mantra is certainly a sound. It is a vibrational sound that has been discovered by the rishis, as I mentioned yesterday, that there is a rishi, there are the 6 sharangi, those 6 parts we talked about yesterday, and there is the anubhav of the mantra, the anubhav for the sadhaka. So every mantra is going to change the experiences of life based on the sankalpa we have. The sankalpa meaning the desires we have. So this is an internal science. It's a psycho-spiritual science. Okay, so the mantra shakti, when we say mantra shakti, meaning that the shakti that is already inside of us, that is opened and activated by the various mantras and then within the mystical areas of the chakras, etc. So that is what is meant by mantra. Yantra is where you have these diagrams. Various diagrams are there. There are different kinds of diagrams that are worshipped, and there's meditation done, and the mantra is also connected with the yantra, and that is how many times these pujas are done. Like the swastik is there just as an example. That's placed in the yantra. There's many other symbols and different shapes and triangles, and so many things are there. They're representative of the chakra system. They're representative of the actual internal spiritual reality that is accessible through meditation on those shapes. So the shapes that are there in the yantras, and I have not talked about this before, but we can do a special section on that some other time in the future. That there is a whole science of yantra, of how to do the yantra puja. So that is mantra, yantra, and tantra. So the word tantra means to weave together, to integrate, and we will create a whole section on that definitely later on when we get to further shlokas in VIVEKCHUDAMANI that are connecting with the tantra shastras, that are connecting with the right-handed path, the left-handed path. What is the deficiency in the left-handed path? So many things are involved in that. So we will cover that as time goes on. But just for now, just to be clear, the word tantra means to weave together. This is its basic meaning. It means to combine together. It is a combination. That is called tantra, right? So for example, if you're making khichdi at home and you put 7 or 8 ingredients, you put potatoes and vegetables and you put the dal and rice and all that, and you put it all together, put the water in there, put some coconut milk in there. So many things you can put, right? Maybe you can put 15 ingredients, 20 ingredients. Some people make these elaborate, these acharya khichdi and stuff like that. What is that? That is an example of tantra. Tantra means to combine. There's a lot of misunderstanding with all the sexual things that the Westerners have emphasized. That is just one sadhana that is shown in there. That misunderstanding is there, unfortunately, and that has kind of put the tradition in the wrong framework. So wo ek bada tradition hai from the Himalayas. That is how it started, and its influence, the Tantra tradition influences throughout Hinduism. And it is also connected with the Vedas. So the Veda mantras are also talking about this type of great integrated state. So anyway, so just be clear about the words. Now, the word stotra. What does the word stotra mean? So for example, we have Vishnu Sahasranam. There is a stotra. Lalita Sahasranam, Vishnu Sahasranam. Then we have Devi Sahasranam, Kali Sahasranam, Saraswati Sahasranam, Ganesha Sahasranam, 1,000 names. Who created these? Different sages at different times created these stotras. Stotra is a type of elaboration on the qualities that are experienced, the qualities of God that are experienced, or the qualities of the deity that are experienced through the mantra. See the connection between mantra and stotra. For example, take Vishnu Sahasranam as an example. So, so when Vishnu Sahasranam is appearing where? In the Mahabharata. And it is actually Bhishma who is through, it is spoken like through Bhishma towards the Pandavas, and Krishna Bhagavan is right there. So it is a 1,000 name worship. It is a worship, but it is an elaborate description of Bhagavan Narayana. This is called the Vishnu Sahasranam. It is a stotra. Now, that stotra has all of the different names inside there. But they are not just names. This is another interesting part. They are not just names. Those names are also sounds, and they can be converted into mantra. So for example, Prabhave, Om Prabhave Namaha. So Prabhave is a name of one of the names of Bhagavan Vishnu. We covered a little bit of Vishnu Sahasranam in last year sometime. That a name that is given, Nam means name. It is a quality description of that Paramatma, of that aspect of God, reality of God, that was realized through mantra, and then from that realization the stotras are created. That is the link between mantra and stotra. In mantra and stotra, both are going to open in the sadhaka the anubhav of the devata. So when we say devata, please understand, Sanatana Dharma is not a polytheistic religion. So there's a couple of more terms here. Just to be clear, polytheism, monism, monotheism, non-dualism, qualified non-dualism, so many approaches. Polytheism means worship of many gods. Many times people say in Hinduism, Sanatana Dharma, you're worshipping so many gods. That is not true actually. They are different aspects of the one. There are not so many gods. God is only one. Ekameva dvitiyam brahma. In the Vachanamrut, Sajanand Swami Maharaj, Bhagavan Shri Swami Narayan, he has quoted this from the Vedas, from the Ved Stuti. What is the teaching in the Veda? What is the central idea in the Veda? That is Ekam Eva Dvitiyam Brahma. Ekam Eva Advitiyam Brahma. That supreme reality, call it God, call it Paramatma, call it Narayan, call it anything you want. Whatever it is actually is one. It is not two. So the tradition of the rishis from the Vedic time to the Upanishads downwards, all the way down to where we are now, it is not polytheistic. It is Ekeshwarvad. Ekeshwarvad means the doctrine of one supreme God. God is one. Not two, not many, only one. But that same Paramatma has infinite attributes, has infinite power, has infinite manifestations. You see this point? So, when we are trying to understand what is Sabija Sadhana is going to take us to the Mool Swarup. One way or another, at some point or another, it will take us back to the origin. You know, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there's that beautiful verse that Sarvadeva Namaskaram Keshavam Pratigacchati. From a Vaishnava point of view, all of the gods and goddesses and everything, Sarvadeva Namaskaram, you may go start with anybody, any great Devata, any great avatar, any great guru even, and it will take you to the same point, assuming that it is a bona fide, it is an actual link. If it is not an actual link, it will keep one within the Prakriti only. That's the difference. That is why mantra it is given by the rishis. Who is it given to? It is given to sadhaka, to shishya. It is given to devotee, shishya, disciple, etc. Different traditions in the Sanatana Dharma have different ways of giving these mantras. For example, in Swaminarayan Sampradaya, Sajanand Swami Maharaj, he gave the mantra Swaminarayan. But in the Shikshapatra, he has given Agnya to chant the Ashtakshara mantra of Bhagwan Sri Krishna. Sri Krishnam Tvam Gatir Mama. Ye Ashtakshara mantra hai. There's another Ashtakshara mantra that is chanted in the Vaishnava Sampradayas, that is Sri Krishnam Sharanam Mama, which is probably, you may have heard that before. Sri Krishnam or Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama or Sri Krishnam Sharanam Mama. You can go either way probably with that. Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama. That is a mantra, that is a Siddha mantra of Sri Vallabhacharya Ji. So the Vallabhacharya Ji is a Siddha in that opening into Goloka, into the divinity of Bhagwan Krishna. And the mantra has given from there. And there's many other Vaishnava mantras, many are there. So there are, okay, just to be clear, in the Sanatana Dharma there are 5 major deities, approaches. That is Sri Ganesha, Bhagwan Shankar, Bhagwan Vishnu, the goddess that is Devi, and Surya Narayan. These are the 5. This is called Panchayatana. In Sanskrit mein isko kya kehte hain? Panchayatana. So Panchayatana Sanmanaya Namaha. This is one of the names in the Janamangal Namavali, that it is a Sanman, meaning it is a respect and adoration for all 5. Those who accept the reality of all 5 of these deities, this is part of Sanatana Dharma. Now you can have any starting point. There are sampradayas. Thousands of sampradayas are based on these 5. Thousands, literally. This is not an exaggeration. To date, there are over 30,000 sampradayas in Sanatana Dharma. Just imagine how many there are, what a variety there is with the languages and whatnot. And it all has its origin point in mantra sadhana, in stotras and the shastras. Now this is the third point. Shastra is translated as scripture. But what does this mean actually? What is Shastra? And I do want to talk about Devi Upasana, but I want to make sure, just in my mind, that this foundation is really, really solid. Otherwise, it will get very confusing otherwise. So, Shastra is the writings, the teachings in different languages, in different ways, in different traditions, in Sanskrit language originally and all the other languages of India. These works have been written by the rishis, by the sages, by various individuals. They are called Shastra if they are written out of anubhav, out of experience. In Western philosophy, we will say it is a philosophical text that is out of intellectual speculation. That is a whole different matter. That is using one's buddhi to analyze and understand, using reason to understand, and then trying to come to the ultimate truth using the faculty, the innate faculty of reason. That is the Western intellectual approach in philosophy. That is not the approach in the Eastern traditions. That approach has been added as a corollary to Anubhav. For example, I have a cup of coffee in my hand right here. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a cup of coffee in my hand. If I have never tasted coffee and I start writing about what I think is coffee, that is the philosophical speculation, what I think it is and what I imagine it to be and what it could be and all that. But one who has tasted it, that is called Anubhav. Actually in philosophy there's a word for that also called qualia. That is Anubhav, first person direct experience. Shankaracharya ji uses the term aparoksh anubhuti. Aparoksh means direct, you're in it. If somebody asks Sachin, do you know what is coffee? I may have an intellectual understanding, I've never tasted coffee. Do I have Anubhav of coffee? No. If I have not tasted it, if I have not put it in my mouth and drank, I have no Anubhav of coffee. So the Shastra, when we use the word Shastra, it should be used very correctly. Just anything written by anybody is not Shastra. Shastra is that language that is written in various languages, whatever the language may be. It is written out of direct first-person realization, and then it is given language, analogies, and explanations, and justification, and all that based on the realization of the individual. I hope this point is very clear. Nobody can say that Time magazine or Newsweek magazine or the Washington Post is Shastra. Do we use that language? Or India Times is Shastra, Hindu is, whatever the newspapers are, isko koi Shastra kehte hain? Bhagavad Gita why Bhagavad Gita is called Shastra? Why VIVEKCHUDAMANI is called Shastra? Why Vachanamrutam is called Shastra? Why Avadut Gita is called Shastra? Why the Upanishads are called Shastra? For this reason. This is the meaning of Shastra, has within it the power to liberate. Because it is coming out of Anubhav. But merely reading the scripture will not liberate. One has to drink the scripture. Shastra ko peene ki baat hai ye. It's like this, for example, when we go to the pharmacy, and let's say we pick up a prescription for a blood pressure medicine, as an example. And then with the medicine, they have this big printout. They have a chemical formula, they interact. It's all small print. It's a massive, like a 2-3 pages worth of stuff is there. My God. Somebody says, I want to study this. Okay, study. He has high blood pressure. Blood pressure is going up. The more he's studying, the blood pressure is going up. Medicine is there. And the more he's studying drug interactions and side effects, blood pressure increasing hota hai. You can study that, understand that, but first take the medicine, then you can study all those things. It's like that. The people are interested in there's a certain group of people that are just interested in studying these things. They're scholars. Okay, that's fine. That's a great thing, no doubt. Or just some scholars are great, we respect them so much. But the fact is, that there are some people who know something about these scriptures here and there, just ordinary individuals, are interested in just arguments, nothing else. इसको क्या कहते हैं? It is called vitandavad. It is not called samvad. It is called vitandavad. Vitanda means what? What I think is right. I'm not interested in what anybody else thinks. I'm just going to thrash everybody all the time. ये एक अहंकार का problem है. That is not Shastra. That is, there is a respect and an approach to Shastra. Just like in the medicine bottle, that there's a prescription how often to take the medicine, when to take it, with what to take it, with food or without food, or in the morning or in the evening. There's a whole range of instructions. Then it is going to be helpful for us. Similarly, when scriptures are studied, there is a whole process behind that. It is called Svadhyay. Svadhyay is the study and contemplation. Now, again, this is another very, very intricate and very elaborate thing. We will try to put it in simple language. Sachin is simply trying to explain what is meant by Shastra. The point is, Shastra is spoken by the Rishis, written by the Rishis, and it carries within it the realization of the individual, the Rishi, the Sadhu, the saint, whoever it is. Why are they writing it? For whom are they writing it? They're writing it because they want to recreate the experience they have. That is what it's all about. That is what is called Guru Parampara, Guru Shishya Sambandha. It is also Guru Shishya Samvad and Guru Shishya Sambandha. That the devotee, the disciple, the one who is wanting to learn, has to have certain qualities, then learning happens. First, there has to be respect, open mind, careful consideration, not blindly following just anything and everything. One is contemplating, reflecting, thinking. One is not jumping to conclusions. You know, we use this expression in English. Don't jump to conclusions. These are the qualities of a Shrota, a listener. There is Shastra, there is the one who has created the scriptures. Those are the actual beings who are living in that Brahmic state. These are called the Brahmaveta Purush. And in fact, Shankaracharya ji does use that word Brahmaveta throughout this VIVEKCHUDAMANI. Veta means the one who can expound upon the Brahman, upon God. So one who is teaching it, expounding upon it, this is called Brahmaveta. And the one who is listening is called Shrota, the listener. He's a sadhaka who is trying to awaken with respect, with open mind, and with one's own contemplation. That is the true sadhaka. Sadhaka is not a blind follower. People say don't become a blind follower. It's true. One should not be a blind follower. One needs to see the truth with eyes open. There's no blind following in that. There is an awakened realization, not blind following. It is an awakened path through anubhav. That Guru is saying teaching one thing, the sadhaka puts it into practice and experiences and experiments. And sees, okay, this is my experience so far. Gurudev, what is your teaching for me? Well, how can I progress further? I'm getting stuck somewhere here. What do I need to do? This is how it used to be in times before. Many, when big organizations were not developed, there were small groups of people sitting with the various sages. Now what you have to use a different approach. We have scriptures, we have YouTube, we have so many different things that are going on. There's different modality of now trying to understand this. And really, in spiritual evolution, one becomes one's own guru. That's where it really lives. The outside guru's teachings come inside, and you begin to experience what it is. Meaning what the scriptures, whatever they're writing, Shastra, it comes into anubhav. These are the flashes of insight. We've talked about this before. I see what that is. For example, we talked about viveka, right? Seeing one's deficiencies, seeing the good things from others. Okay, fine. But when we start doing that, when we're in that, what do we have? We have anubhav. When Sachin is interested in working on Sachin and not finding other people's faults and other people's deficiencies, wow, that's a blessing. Now Sachin can understand what is written in Vachanamrut Garada Pratham number 6 about Viveka, Aviveka. Whoever the teacher is, when they're teaching something, if we want to know what it is, we have to put it into application. The attempt to put into practice is sadhana. So all of this terminology we want to keep in mind. Mantra, yantra, tantra, shastra, shrota, shastra, sadhana, sadhya. There's another term also, sadhya. What is sadhya? That is the goal to be reached. Sadhana, performed by a sadhaka, is aiming to touch the truth or reality of sadhya, the goal to be reached. So in VIVEKCHUDAMANI, what is the goal to be reached? The goal is the realization of Atma and the oneness of the Atma and the Brahman, that they are one. This is where Shankaracharya is leading, and in fact all of the scriptures are leading to that point. So the sadhaka has to utilize many methods, and so what we are talking about is mantra sadhana still. This is just some of the background. I just wanted to review some of the terminology very quickly. That when we use the word Shakti, now this is continuing from yesterday, each mantra contains Shakti. What does that mean? What is Shakti? Shakti is the primordial cosmic energy. Now keep this in mind. There are several ways to understand Shakti. Shakti is easily understood as energy. There are several words: energy, ability, strength, effort, power, and capacity. These are the words that can describe what is Shakti. No words can actually completely describe it, but we have to use some way to understand. That is why we're doing that. And this definition is actually from Monier Williams, the Sanskrit English dictionary, where he defines it this way. He was a great scholar of Sanskrit, so I'm just giving a reference here. The Shakti is energy. Let's look at this energy. When we say energy, what is energy? Everywhere there is energy. The sun, we say, does the sun have energy? Yes. It is a dynamic force that moves throughout the universe. It is a force, it is a power, it is a substance of a sort that moves through the whole universe. And inside our body, inside our mind, there is all kinds of energy. Tremendous power exists within each of us. So, when we are doing what is called Bij Mantra or Shakti Upasana, and this is another word, Upasana, by the way, that is worship. Using a mantra like Namah Shivaya mantra, any mantra we're using, that mantra opens the dormant powers within us. Slowly, carefully. So the opening of power, opening of energy, because that energy is absolutely pure. वो शक्ति का स्वरूप कैसा है? It is absolutely uncontaminated. It is pure. It is divine. It is called Divya Shakti. It is energy that is not touched by the influence of agnan, ignorance. That is the original primordial Shakti. That is called Mool Prakriti. It is called Mahamaya. And that power is infinite. Ananta Shakti. So when we say that that power is infinite, when we recognize that there is no end to that power, we are expanding from our limited states and moving slowly, moving carefully, where the Kundalini Shakti awakens. Kundalini Shakti is in the Muladhara Chakra, and it awakens slowly, carefully. Beautifully, it awakens. It is the original beauty. It is because of that beauty, that is Kundalini, that is why everything looks beautiful outside. That is the essence of beauty sitting inside the chakra system. And it is dormant. 99% it is Shushupta. Only 1% or less is active. But once it begins to open, then the realization of the chakras begins to open. Now this goes further. Let's go one step ahead. So let's say an individual, a sadhaka, is doing Namah Shivaya mantra. I'm giving these two as a good primary example, and it's a good place to begin also. Om mantra, Om Namah Shivaya mantra, and the Om Aim Rim Klim Chamundai Viche, this Navaran mantra. By the way, the word Chamunda means the destruction of duality, Dvanda. Because the Rakshasas, the Chanda Munda, the Rakshasa stories are there, the Rakshasas. But the sound itself is the destruction of all of the fragmentation within, and it is basically opening the channel further from the Muladhara to the Sahasrar. That is what is the Chamunda mantra is about that. All the mantras are really about that in some way or another. So when we chant Om Aim Rim Klim Chamundai Viche, there is Mahasaraswati, Mahasaraswati is Aim, Mahalakshmi is Rim, Mahakali is Klim. And Chamundai Viche means to worship or to be in connection with. And Chamunda meaning what? Beyond the head. That also another is meaning that there is no intellectual, individualized ego involved in this. Iska meaning wo bhi hai. And it also means that beyond all of the Rakshasi Vritti, jo Rakshas ka nash totally. So it's a battle, so and it also has the very beautiful effect of clearing up problems from day-to-day life. It does all of that and much more also. So it is a sadhana to be performed. No sadhana is like an instantaneous thing. Aisa nahi hai. It requires shraddha. It requires Guru Krupa. It requires sincerity and bhakti bhav. But it is with that sadhana is performed. Otherwise, it is not performed haphazardly. If one is going to perform it, do it carefully, silently. Do it with love and affection, and it will open up all kinds of beautiful experiences in life, and it will free up this life. But also what it does, it awakens the intelligence into jnana, what ought to be done in my life. It opens up ethics and morality. This is called the connection with dharma, the sad acharan, the right kind of thinking, the what ought to be done. That intelligence comes that in this situation, let me perform this way. In the world of life, in the world of Prakriti, in our day-to-day life, that intelligence is required about how to live with the people in this world, situations in this world, and take the right actions at the right time. That buddhi that is awakened through the Aim Bij mantra. So when we do sadhana, Om Aim Rim Klim Chamundai Viche. If you're using a havan, doing havan, you put the swaha at the end. Om Aim Rim Klim Chamundai Viche Swaha. Swaha is also a mantra. That means that you're asking the divine to accept. It's very interesting. We're offering energy. You're using what energy is accessible to you and offering it to Parameshwari, that is the Mahashakti, and And what does that Mahashakti do? She comes back again and opens up tenfold more energy. It's like this. It's like, if you have $1,000 in your bank account and you withdraw $10 and you put it in another bank account, the Mahashakti bank account, and so the goddess puts $1 million inside there. Every time you put $10 inside there, the Devi puts $1 million inside that bank account. It's like that. Even Mirabai said, that every day the bhakti grows. The more you give, the more it grows. It's like that. The more you deposit. So the more sadhana is done, the more that energy grows. But to do sadhana, one has to have energy. One has to have a good body, healthy mind, proper function of the body. That is necessary. Otherwise, how can sadhana be done? इसीलिए हम कहते हैं कि तबीयत बहुत अच्छी होनी चाहिए, as much as possible. Keep the health. Health is wealth. All kinds of wealth. If the physical body is healthy and the mental mind is healthy, one is in good shape. Then one can do sadhana. But what about for somebody who is not healthy? Not to worry. Do the sadhana with what you can. It will help with the health. It will enhance the health. As I mentioned several times already in the last couple of days, a fruit is generated. Phala. When we do sadhana, after some time, there is a fruit, a phal. Meaning what? The actual fruit of the sadhana that the sadhaka is looking for, it comes into one's life. And to recognize that fruit is a very, very important thing. Most people, you know what happens? They might be doing sadhana और भगवान की कृपा से वो उनको फल मिलता है, साधना का फल मिलता है, ठीक है? But then after they get it, they may say, oh, I got this, but the mind is jumping into something else right away. So wait a minute, hold on. Why don't you appreciate what you have right now and bask in that and enjoy that and do good things with that? Rather than jumping into something else and creating more chaos and more disturbance. इसीलिए हम कहते हैं वासना की कोई तृप्ति नहीं है. So when fruit is generated through sadhana, it depends what the fruit you're looking for. That is the power of the Navaran mantra. It's a Maha mantra and Namah Shivaya mantra. Right now I'm just talking about these two. इसमें अनंत शक्ति है, अनंत अनुभव है इसमें. It depends, it's a matter of what you are asking. All the great gurus have always said, keep your sankalpa, your thinking very clear what you are wanting to experience. आपके हृदय में क्या इच्छा है from which you want to experience. And that ichha can be of 4 types. Remember, please always remember the ichha is of 4 types. It can be tamasic, it can be rajasic, it can be sattvic, it can be a mixture of tamogun, rajogun, it can be a mixture of the 3. Sattvagun, rajogun, it can be mixed also. And the 4th, which is the highest, that is nirgun, that is prasannata. Bhagavad prasannata. That is the 4th possibility. But if somebody says there is no desire, life doesn't work that way. If somebody has no desire, that is a tamasic state, tamoguni state. वो कोई अच्छी बात नहीं है. This is written in Vachanamrut by Sajanand Swami. Made that very clear, this point. What a point, how clear that this is. He said, yes, keep one desire from his point, from the bhakti point of view. Ek hi ichha rakhni. In Vachanamrut this is written, Bhagavad Prasannata. That's for the highest thing. The Vachanamrut is for the highest of realization. But those who are wanting things in this world, in the sansar, and problems to disappear and all that, that's fine. We can pray for that. That is called Sakam Bhakti. Koi prashna nahi hai. No problem in doing Sakam Bhakti. Karo. If you're going to ask for blessings, ask from God. Ask everything you want. Only thing is, don't ask something negative. Don't ask something harmful towards somebody else. Because that harm will come back to us. That's why we don't want that to happen. If you see, if somebody has done something wrong, I mentioned it yesterday, wish good for them and let them go on their path. Don't get stuck with them. We don't want to create a karmic connection with anybody in this sansar. except for Bhagwan or Bhagwan ke jo bade bade bhakt hai. Other than that, no attachment towards anybody. The moment we get stuck with somebody or anybody, anything through a karmic connection, we get connected with that being, with that Jivatma. And we will keep spinning in the Brahman, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime because of that. This is the spiritual technology, spiritual science. So to break through all of this, mantra sadhana is a Sabija sadhana that awakens the intelligence to understand Brahma Vidya and to do even more sadhana, and from there to live this life with pure love. Pure love, because that energy, that Kundalini Shakti is prema, is love. It's you know we say, let me have love for somebody, let me develop love. We should have more love. These are all statements from our ignorance, agnan ki baat hai. In reality, we are that love. We are that prem. We are that undisturbed primordial power that is our essential nature. And the more we realize that, the mind is going to be brimming with that realization, and it is going to flow. It is going to express, meaning what? See, the Aim Rim Klim Chamundai mantra, these mantras, the expression of that pure power through the mind and senses, isko kya kehte hain? This is called a sage, saint, sage, who is not living in the small space of the ego, is allowing for that great vast energy to flow. So is infused by divine love, and is whatever is around that person is blessed by that same power. But that same power, what does it do? It gives the sadhaka all kinds of anubhav. Because it is a destructive and constructive power. What does it destroy? What does it create? And I've gone over time already. I'll stop in just a moment here. What does it destroy? What does it create? It destroys the limitations the Jivatma is stuck in. वो destroy कर देता है. Definitely. That is why you go to any Shakti Mandir, and you go to any Shakti Peeth, you go to any place where there is a Durga Mandir, Devi Mandir, you will always see weapons in the hands. Ashtabhuja Swarup. Different forms are there. The weapons are shown. People say, why all these weapons are there? Sanatana Dharma is talking about ahimsa, and you have all these gods with all these weapons. Ye kya hai? But those weapons are mantras. Bhagwan Shri Krishna ka jo this Sudarshan Chakra, there is a whole series of mantras of the Sudarshan. It's called Sudarshan Kavach, that activates that divinity. ऐसी बात है. So when the destructive process occurs, mantras destroy. What do they destroy? They destroy problems, difficulties, ignorance, agnan, limitations. They clean up the field. वो destroy कर देता है. And from that destruction, a new creation comes. It is called creative destruction and destructive creation. What an extraordinary way. So such a life is brimming with what? Karuna, prem, shraddha, bhakti, tremendous strength, but not any ego. Kitni badi baat hai. Most people they try to gather strength by enhancing their ego. You can do that to some extent, and then first will completely go to downfall, guaranteed. But when strength expands without ahankar, nirmana moha jita sanga dosha adhyatma nitya vinivritta kamaha, Bhagavad Gita chapter 15. How beautiful. What a life this is. This is the life that the rishis are asking us to live. for all human beings, for everyone in every situation. What iska saransh kya hai? It's only one word, and that is prem. Nothing else. Even if we don't remember anything else, if we can simply tap into undisturbed, see this point, undisturbed prem, living that life without any disturbance of love, that is God. वो ही भगवान है, और क्या भगवान है? ऊपर भगवान है कि नीचे भगवान है कि अंदर भगवान है? भगवान प्रेम ही है. ऐसी अलौकिक बात है. There's amazing things are there. We will continue further. Shri Hari. We will just do our closing prarthana. Before that, I want to offer my prostrations, Dandvat Pranam to all the sages, to all of you, and to Paramatma for blessings for everyone, for tan, man, dhan se sabko sukh mile, no obstacles, no difficulties, and this prem tattva that we are talking, may that come into all of our lives, awaken in our lives, and just every moment is ananda, ananda, ananda. That is our wish and prarthana. Alright, so with that, let's do the closing prarthana, and we'll continue.